Tonight on News 5 Live, Queen Elizabeth II passes away at age 96. The world is in mourning. GOB says no to mining activities near Gales Point. Is it Sayonara Vulcan? And another logjam in the sugar industry. BSCFA and BSI are at a head pass regarding a commercial agreement. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 9 Caribbean Media Awards for 2021. Best Investigative Report, Best News Item, Best Coverage of People with Disabilities, Best Financial Literacy Journalism, Best Videographer, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with 2 special mentions for Financial Literacy Journalism.
Make your summer better. Over $35,000 in cash and prizes with Smart Summer Sweepstakes. Here's how you can enter for a chance to win. Purchase any device, sign up for a smart postpaid, broadband, or VoIP plan, use $50 or more regular prepaid credit, do a SIM swap, or text to the short code. You win 8946. And in the body of the message, enter the number of entries you would like to purchase. Each entry costs only 50 cents.
Don't waste any time. You can be the winner of weekly prizes starting July 1st. All methods give you more chances to win. Airline tickets, overnight stays at numerous resorts, cash prizes, gift certificates, and much, much more. One lucky person will win the grand prize of a $10,000 shopping spree courtesy Court and Smart.
Promotion ends September 16, 2022. So make your summer better by getting in the race to win with Smart Summer Sweepstakes. Smart, bringing people together.
Applying for a Social Security sickness benefit? Here's what you need to know. A complete claims package includes 1. Sickness claim form fully completed by the claimant and medical doctor. 2. Salaries record form completed by the employer or HR representative. 3. Proof of bank account such as bank book, online banking, or statement displaying your name and account number. To submit via email, you need to take a clear photo or scan of the documents and email to claims@socialsecurity.org.bz. Be sure to include your full name, social security number, and benefit type in the subject line of the email. Deadline to submit is 14 days from your first day of illness. All forms are available on the website at www.socialsecurity.org.bz. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank contactless MasterCard debit card. Introducing our standard debit and MasterCard Platinum debit cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
They say, no wait till a legend is gone for telling good. So, the National Institute of Culture and History, in association with the September Celebrations Commission, BTB, and the Belize City Council presents the Living Legend Concert, honoring the mighty Lord Rayburn. Live at the newly named Lord Rayburn Plaza, behind the Memorial Park on Marine Parade. Friday, September 9th, 9 p.m. The TLC Band, Nello Player, Miss Honey D, Trumet Perriott, Jasmine Songstress, Bastic, Consigo, and more will be performing all the classic Lord Rayburn hits. hosted by DJ Dollar. The living legend himself will be in attendance for a special tribute. So bring out the entire family Friday, September 9th from 9 p.m. behind the Memorial Park for the living legend Lord Rayburn concert. Sponsored by the National Institute of Culture and History, the Honorable Francis Fonseca, the September Celebrations Commission, BTB, Mayor Bernard Wagner, and the Belize City Council.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
Reusable plastics. Did you know that until we find an alternative for plastic and all its uses, we will continue to need plastics, such as in the health sector? Plastic becomes a huge problem for Belize when it becomes waste and is improperly disposed of. When it is thrown on the side of the road and in our rivers and seas, it's eaten by animals and in turn by people, and it becomes an environmental and health issue. It costs us money for disposal, filling up dumps and landfills, and paying for associated healthcare. So what can you do? Choose to refuse single-use plastics is step 1. Step 2, instead, use the plastics that were meant to be reused, like coffee cups, water bottles, and food containers. We're not talking about buying a $1 bottle of water. I mean, you can, but how long will that last you? Reusable plastics keep plastics out of the environment for a much longer time and are even better than other forms of plastics like biodegradable or even compostable or bio-based plastics. By reusing, you are also saving money since you aren't rebuying the same thing over again. Think about it. How many bottles of water do you buy every week? How much does that cost compared to the cost of a reusable bottle? Imagine what you can do with the extra money. Click on the link below to see what you can do to help end the nightmare of single-use plastics. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
Start your...
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Thursday, September 8th. I am Sabrina Daly. Tonight, flags are being flown at half-mast in Britain and all countries that make up the Commonwealth of Nations, including Belize, as arrangements are being made to lay the Queen of England to rest. Queen Elizabeth II was Britain's longest reigning monarch, ruling the United Kingdom and 14 other sovereign nations since she was crowned in 1952. Her Majesty, the Queen of England, passed away at Balmoral Castle in Aberdeenshire, Scotland at age 96. What many may not have known is that Queen Elizabeth II was the monarch that shouldn't have been. That's because it all came about by happenstance, when Edward VIII abdicated the throne before the date was set for him to be crowned king. He was set to succeed his father, King George V, but when he relinquished his seat, history as we know it changed course, giving rise to the longest reigning monarch. Earlier today, News 5 spoke by phone with Therese Rath, Belize's High Commissioner to the UK. She described the melancholy of the wake of the Queen Elizabeth's passing. She also describes the steps to be taken, including the coronation of King Charles III in the days ahead.
Well, I think there was a seriousness about it, and the day was already a very gray day after a very bright and sunny summer. And people went about their business, but were kind of being aware of looking out for new announcements. It didn't feel like it was something they were going to recover from. So when the announcement actually came, there's like a silence, there's a quietness, but then we were walking on a very quiet street and there were people crying. You know, especially older people. you would see people crying quietly or hugging each other. So there's like a sadness. There are hundreds of people that went down to Buckingham Palace. They're just out there on the street. Some areas you see people going about their business, but we went into a small restaurant and like everybody was talking about it, but talking about it in hushed tones, not, in overwhelmingly loud, or even it wasn't that you're not surprised. It's like you're expecting that a 96-year-old monarch is going to die, but it's still like a sadness. The first anybody heard of it was the BBC announcement where Buckingham Palace made the announcement that she was under medical supervision and that her family was coming to Balmoral. What happens now is that we are officially notified, but now we await. There is a whole plan in place, and we now await what that plan and how we fit into that, and that will be forthcoming. Those plans have been well established for many, many years. On our part, the Queen is our head of state, and now we have a king that is our head of state. And so officially we have to begin the processes to recognize and accept that. Why it has touched many people is not only the fact that she was the monarch for 70 years, but I think people are really aware of her as a person. She was an incredibly strong woman, and in many ways an incredible role model about her sense of duty and her kindness. There was a kindness and a naturalness that came through.
In the occasion of the Queen's death, there are certain protocols that will be followed in respect of the fallen sovereign, who was the Queen of Belize. Late this evening, News 5 spoke with Cabinet Secretary Stuart Leslie, who shared plans for flags to be flown at half-mast and the tolling of church bells across the country on Friday morning.
This morning, the Governor General's office informed the Office of the Prime Minister of the official word that Her Majesty had died. So immediately, the Prime Minister asked that the Office of the Governor General express heartfelt condolences to the family of Her Majesty the Queen, of course to the British people, and to all the other members of the Commonwealth. The Governor General has already issued a statement where she had asked for the flags to be brought down at half-mast, as we are in a period of mourning now, and the Prime Minister will issue a statement this evening.
Okay, so those flags will fly at half-mast for how long?
They will fly at half-mast from now until the funeral on the 18th of September. Okay. We've just concluded a meeting with the Minister of Culture and Education, the Foreign Minister, with the Governor General's office and the Office of the Prime Minister to look at what we call a more somber celebrations. The country is in mourning. The Queen Elizabeth was the Queen of Belize, and so we're looking at areas where events will reflect not only the fact that we are a nation in mourning now, but also that celebrate the life of the Queen. So, for example, we will have on the National Day of Prayer, which is this Sunday, there will be a memorial service. It will be celebrating our 41st year and praying for Belize, and as well as praying for the Queen and for her family at the same time. We have already, the Minister of it, Minister Fonseca, is looking at the September celebrations to see how we can properly celebrate the life of the Queen, celebrate our 41st year of independence, bearing in mind that we were under lockdown for 2 years, and do it in a tasteful way that reflects that we are a nation in mourning. We will be tolling the bells tomorrow morning across the country, and we'll go at 8 a.m. And that is the tolling of the bells tomorrow morning will be in honor of the new King. And then on the 18th, on the day of the funeral for Her Majesty the Queen, we will be tolling bells in honor of celebrating the life of.
This afternoon, Minister of Human Development Dolores Valderramos Garcia shared her recollections of the Queen of England and her legacy as head of the Commonwealth. She began by extending condolences to the royal family.
Condolences to her family, her immediate family, the British people, and all of us in the Commonwealth. As you know, she has really seen off, you could say, 15 British prime ministers. Her reign has been so long, and recently she celebrated her platinum jubilee of 70 years on the throne. Now, regardless of what we might feel about the continuation of the monarchy, I believe that the Commonwealth has been a very, very good and sound organization for us to belong to. And it has really benefited our people. As you know, Belize is still considered one of the realms of Queen Elizabeth II. 14 countries that still have the Queen or the monarch as our titular head of state. However, we belong to the wider community of the 50-odd Commonwealth nations. And I do have a very soft spot for the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth sponsored a portion of my education. I can mention that. And also my sister, she was a Queen's Guide at the age of 16. So going through the many years, not only as a colony, but also as an independent country in the Commonwealth, I think the Queen has been a really shining example of service. She has served with dignity, with distinction, and with compassion. And so, as she's laid to rest, and there's a passing of the baton, as you would say, I really want to acknowledge her many, many years of service, especially to the Commonwealth, and of course extending the condolences and marking such a long and distinguished reign.
While a series of royal visits have been made to the jewel, the most recent call on Belize was in March of this year when the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Prince William and Catherine, arrived to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee during a tour of the Caribbean. There were also visits by other members of the royal family since Belize got its independence back in 1981. But on 2 occasions, Queen Elizabeth herself made an appearance. Those visits were in 1985 and 1994. And tonight, we speak with some Belizeans who share their experiences during those visits.
It's very sad for the Commonwealth and for Belize. Well, she's gone home to Jesus. We are grateful to the monarchy, the UK, for the system of government that they left us. We live in a monarchical democracy.
Sylvia Waite may not have been in the country on both visits by Queen Elizabeth II, but says she's grateful for the system of education that the country has benefited from. But unlike Waite, there were many Belizeans, government officials, diplomats, and ordinary people who had the honor of greeting and, in some cases, performing and dining with the Queen. Back in 1985, at age 22, Josephine Flowers, now the vice principal of Edward P. York High School, had the privilege of dancing for the Queen.
Not only was it an honor, I tell you, because to be chosen, it was they took some from every company. So, and then we got to be a part of the Bud Bank wedding, which was the first time a production like that was done in Belize. So it was like Bob Reno was the person, and I have never been in any of the creative dancing with Mr. Bob Reno, so that was what made it more enjoyable. And then to know that not only that we got to be so up close and personal with the Queen, it was how their reaction to our dance also. So that's what make it, and we had a lot of people in it. I know I could tell you like Althea Seeley, Evodia Palmer, we had I think, well, Rosita is no longer with us, Joycelyn McCoy. I could remember, it was a lot. I was in the Creole section, so we did a number, balancing the basket on our knee and doing everything else that you could think about.
In the last visit, Flowers, as a teacher, took her students by Palotti High School to witness the Queen's procession. Also lining the streets of Belize City in 85 and 94 was Jean Reyes, a scout guider. Remembering the royal visits like it was yesterday, she shares the excitement of meeting the Queen, calling it an expensive experience.
I can recall where the flag monument is. The monument wasn't there at the time, but they had all the barricades and everything, and all of our brownies, guides, rangers, leaders, we were all dressed up, excited to meet the Queen, and I was at the forefront with the little girls, right? So that was an experience for me. I can remember like yesterday. She was, it was so nice that you had to curtsy to her and all of this too, because they taught us before. The little girls were well behaved, well disciplined. They met with her, she chatted with them, she asked them about their badges on the sashes. They were really, really excited.
And then in 94, did you get that experience again?
Yes, of course. The girls are always excited to meet with her because it's experience of a lifetime to meet the Queen of England. It's very expensive.
For Colville Young Jr., his father served as the Queen's representative in Belize for almost 3 decades. He had the privilege of directing an orchestral performance for the royal visit. He shook her hand and bowed to the Queen before sitting around the dinner table for a royal banquet. The protocols at the time included no picture taking.
At the time I was at Polity, in charge of the Polity String Orchestra, and yes, we did do some kind of a performance for her. It was kind of rare that you find dignitaries coming to Belize and really meeting with the public, general public at large. If they do come, and when they do come, you just hear about it in those days. So her coming to Belize, and actually I think they had a banquet of some sort, and that kind of stuff really associating with the people, even though you couldn't touch her, you know, she was the Queen. But still, it made a big difference, and so it was quite an event in Belize.
Fond memories aside, it is about the lasting impression that these persons take away.
When I heard this morning that she passed away, it's like you know her.
Whenever you meet somebody, or whether you participate in anything involving someone, you have a deeper appreciation for what they do. We might say they don't do anything for us, but without them, where would we have been? So I say thanks to them. We don't have to be like them, but thanks to them for setting the pace for us.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Queen Elizabeth II's death comes 2 days after Britain ushered in Liz Truss as the new Prime Minister. It also comes 2 days before Belize observes the 224th anniversary of the Battle of St. George's Key, an event led by British and natives in 1798. The 13 days before we celebrate our 41st anniversary of independence from Great Britain in 1981. In the following report, News 5's Marian Ali takes a look back at the life of Queen Elizabeth II.
Everyone who is in their 40s or older remembers when Queen Elizabeth II stepped off the British Highways plane at the Belize International Airport in October of 1985. It was history in the making, her first visit as the Queen of the Commonwealth and of Belize, and an occasion in which many Belizeans, particularly school children, were elated to be a part of, as they lined the streets waving flags as she passed by. She returned in February of 1994 with her husband, Prince Philip. On that occasion, she addressed Belizeans from the Speaker's chair in the National Assembly.
Many of the changes which we have witnessed are to be applauded and encouraged. Many have helped the disadvantaged to achieve their proper place in society. But some, the increase in crime being an obvious example, have done damage to society, and it is up to us to keep that society strong enough to withstand any assault from whatever quarter. It is never enough to treat symptoms alone. Such measures as the strengthening of law enforcement agencies and criminal justice systems are worthwhile, but we must simultaneously look at the real roots of the disease. That often means a process of honest and sometimes uncomfortable self-examination by a nation as a whole. But Belize is capable of that.
The Queen's words back then resonated with Don Hector Silva, a man who has been here from the time she took the throne back in 1952. Today, he shared a bit of the monarch's relevance in pre-independence era.
Belize at that time was just on its infancy. So she was there when Belize was granted for the first time adult suffrage, where Belizeans can vote without any conditions. During her term, that was 1954, there was political advancements. One was 1957, membership system. Then the other one was 1961, when we became representatives and not legislators. 1964, we became self-governed. Then is when we began to swear allegiance to Belize and not Her Majesty the Queen, even though she was our head of state.
Silva shared his view that our relation with Britain in the days following our independence was as significant as the events leading up to September 21st.
Her Majesty the Queen played an important role in the existence of Belize. Had we not been under her realm, we would not be Belize. We would have been swallowed by another nation. Remember, through her obligation, we had the privilege of having a defense guarantee. The British were there from 1948 in Belize. First crew that came in 1948, and they are still here with us at Batsub and practicing at the Chiquibul Forest. So she played an important role. Had we get rid of she, we wouldn't have this support.
Now that she has passed, Belize will, like other Commonwealth countries, pay respect to the only sovereign that most Belizeans have known throughout their lives. As Minister of Education and Culture, Francis Fonseca reflected earlier today, Queen Elizabeth II lived through the swearing-in of all of Belize's prime ministers up to this point.
She has had a long, productive life. I think in her lifetime she has received about 15 British prime ministers. And all of our prime ministers of Belize, of course, have served under her tenure. I believe she has served our Commonwealth with distinction, with grace. And so, you know, we are definitely thinking about her family during this difficult time. And I think, you know, we certainly understand the significant role that she has played in the history of the Commonwealth, and which Belize is a part of.
Queen Elizabeth II will be laid to rest on September 18th. Church bells across Belize will toll at 8 on Friday morning to symbolize the reign of a new monarch, King Charles III. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
Coming up, a dead end for Vulcan mining operation in Gales Point, Manatee. Details when we return.
Constanza. I'm a pediatrician and neonatologist. I work at the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit at Karl-Huchner Memorial Hospital Authority and at Northern Medical Specialty Plaza. Like other vaccines, few persons may present with reactions. Vaccines are safe. Get protected. Get vaccinated.
¿Qué es Amnistía 2022? Una oportunidad para los inmigrantes indocumentados que viven en Belice. Belice quiere ayudarte a vivir libremente y continuar contribuyendo a las comunidades que usted y su familia ahora llaman su hogar, al ofrecer un camino hacia la residencia permanente. ¿Por qué debería aplicar? Al hacerlo, elimina barreras y reduce las dificultades que enfrenta viviendo como inmigrante indocumentado. Aplicar es fácil. Visita el sitio web www.immigration.gov.bz para obtener más información. Puede verificar si califica, cómo presentar una solicitud, qué documentos necesita y cómo hacer una cita. Prepárate, el plazo de inscripción será del 2 de agosto al 30 de noviembre 2022. Amnistía de Belice 2022. Continuemos construyendo Belice juntos.
On Tuesday, Prime Minister John Briceño chaired a cabinet meeting in Belmopan, during which several issues were discussed, including government's position on mining activity in the vicinity of Gales Point, Manatee. Senior officials within the Briceño administration have taken a collective policy decision that no surface mining, including strip, open put, or mountaintop, shall be permitted near Gales Point village. That conclusion effectively dismisses Vulcan's plan to mine for aggregates on White Ridge Farms. This afternoon, News 5 spoke with Orlando Habet, Minister of Sustainable Development. Here's what he shared with us by phone.
As you know, this has been out there that the company, Vulcan, has interest in acquiring, or I don't know if they have acquired, it's a private deal with White Ridge Farms to purchase some land that White Ridge owns in the Manatee area. And all the information we got was that they were interested in doing some mining in that area. No? As you know, we have had the voices out there saying that it is not a good type of investment to make, especially in terms of the ecosystems within that area. We have villagers, the community from Gales Point, Manatee, going against it. But to be fair, I think that our team, along with, I think, the minerals unit from the natural resources, met with the people from Vulcan to hear them out. But whilst we had our cabinet meeting, cabinet decided as the executive arm of government that at this that they will not be entertaining any type of development that has to do with any type of mining at this time. Cabinet's decision really was that it will not support any project development in Gales Point, Manatee that will involve any type of mining, given the fact that there's this very sensitive nature of the area. Of course, from my ministry, we're looking at the diverse biodiversity, all the benefits from the watershed, certainly that immense ecological value and ecological systems that surround the entire area. So it is not prudent for us to engage in that type of development.
Belize Rural Central Area Representative Dolores Balderramos Garcia also attended Tuesday's cabinet's meeting, where it was decided that permission for mining activities within her constituency would not be granted. The firm position against the proposal, she told News 5, was initially taken by herself and Minister of Tourism Anthony Mahler.
Most definitely. I think Anthony Mahler, Minister Mahler, and myself were really the first ones that brought up this issue. As you know, Minister Mahler is very concerned about tourism throughout our country, even in the most even in the smallest communities. And so myself, he brought it up, and then also I took up the mantle, if you could put it that way, because our people of Gales Point have been saying to us that they really do not want to see kind of strip mining activity in their backyard, as it were. And so I am very pleased that Cabinet has taken this kind of policy decision, because I believe I may have been the first one to bring it up actually in the House of Representatives. And I'm very happy as well that Minister Cordell, responsible for mining, has joined in with us. We have had the CEO of the Ministry of the Blue Economy. We have had Professor Bowles. We have had the Audubon Society, and many, many groups, as I have been saying, have joined in with this kind of position that we have taken. No, that is not to say that we don't want development in our country. And I don't believe that that would be an absolute bar for the company seeking to have an environmental and social impact assessment. However, I believe that as Cabinet and as this government, we have to be firm in our priorities. And I am pleased that is basically the bottom line. I am pleased that Cabinet has taken this decision, as myself being the area rep for the people of Gales Point, Manatee.
The Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association and ASR-BSI have reached yet another impasse in its negotiations towards a new commercial agreement. Viewers will recall the standoff that sugarcane farmers organized back in December 2021 in front of the sugar mill in Orange Walk, after negotiations at the time reached a stalemate. With intervention from the government, both BSCFA and ASR-BSI were able to agree to an extension on the expired commercial agreement for the duration of the 2021-2022 sugarcane crop season. At the end of the sugar season in July, both BSCFA and ASR-BSI returned the negotiation table. Well, only weeks into these negotiations, and both parties are already at a deadlock. The new sugarcane season is scheduled to begin in the next 4 months. Oscar Alonso, the Chief Executive Officer at BSCFA, was a guest on Open Your Eyes morning show on August 18th, where he spoke on the impasse.
It has not been an easy process, as you know. Incidents or events led up to that series of activities in December and for the extension. And we had hoped that between the period January to now, we would have had a new agreement in place. And we still have the same proposals that we had put forward at the beginning, which are 5, right? The matter of how we want to negotiate how the price of cane is being paid, how it is calculated, how it is being paid, how the price of bagasse is being calculated. Also, we're trying to insert a clause in there that commits BSI to daily grinding rate that would benefit cane farmers. And finally, the aspect about the length of the agreement. Those are still our proposals. On it. BSI has still been adamant during this whole period that is not prepared to negotiate any clause that implies a transfer of value, and even is sticking to the fact that the minimum period is 7 years. So we are at a point where it's practically like a stalemate. We have asked the intervention of the government. I think you have heard about the news, where we met with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister gave certain commitments, right, and that would enable the process to be completed before the end of the new crop. I think a binding committee has been given for us to get an independent consultant to come in and mediate the process, right? Because we found that further discussions is not leading us anywhere. It's time for an independent consultant to come in.
One of the sticking points in the ongoing negotiation process has to do with the formula being used to calculate the prices farmers receive for the sugarcane they deliver to the mill. With the current formula, farmers receive 65% of net value after the mill sells its sugar and molasses. ASR-BSI receives 35% of the net value. But BSCFA argues that this formula leaves farmers at a disadvantage. They are proposing a new formula which will see farmers receiving 60% from the gross revenues. The chairman of BSCFA's Finance Committee, Javier Kimi, explained their rationale behind this proposal.
The amount that the farmer used to get before 2017 was an average of 53, 54, up to 55% of the total proceeds of the sales of sugar and molasses. And in the last 5 years, it have shrunk to under the 50%. Last year, it was 49%, and it has been in 1 year 48%. So we have been losing over the years 5 to 6% of the total revenues. And where in the analysis we did, where is this percentage being accommodated? It's being accommodated in a series of deductions that is done, and these deductions is the provider for these services is the Belize Sugar Industries Limited, or is the mill itself. So it goes back to the portion. Remember that we have a current model of 65-35 of the net strip value. So when we have the gross proceeds, there is a series of deductions that is deducted for export, and some other charges, some other deduction that has been added these last years, which is part of the processing cost. So this has been increasing before 2017 from an average of 15% to 25% of the total revenues.
Wow.
So that is the percentage that has been worrying the farmers, because all the cost of production.
On Wednesday, the People's United Party's Northern Caucus met with the BSCFA in Orange Walk to hear presentations from the executive of the association. Prime Minister John Briceño and Minister of Agriculture Jose Mai are both members of the PUP's Northern Caucus. In the meeting, Prime Minister John Briceño reportedly told farmers that the government of Belize will intervene if a new commercial agreement is finalized in October. Over the phone, Minister Mai informed us that he is in support of some of the propositions being made by BSCFA.
The Belize Sugar Cane Farmers Association has always requested that they meet the Northern Caucus of the PUP to present their position and to update us on the ongoing negotiations with BSI. So that meeting was held yesterday, and it was well attended by the Northern Caucus of the PUP. All the constituencies were present there, including San Pedro, Belize Rural South. It will be resolved. It will be resolved because it has been ongoing for a very long time, and it cannot continue to be that way. We are running in circles like dogs chasing with tail. So the Prime Minister yesterday said that we must end the negotiations in a given time in October. So that is what we will do. It has to end. It cannot continue being dragged on and on and on. I believe that there is room for negotiation. I believe that the company can give in to certain demands of the farmers. The Northern Caucus, though, after viewing the presentation done by the BSCFA, is convinced that the requests being made, the 60-40 request on the gross, is something that can be done, and they support the BSCFA in that request.
After the break, positive COVID cases in Belize fall significantly. We'll have that and more when we come back.
Make it a September to remember when you celebrate and save with Samsung. Enjoy awesome prices on the A-Series and S-Series lineup, all backed up by a 1-year local warranty, only when you shop from authorized Samsung resellers. The full lineup includes A03, A03 Core, A12, A13, A22, A23, A33, A52s, A53, S20FE, S21FE, S22, and S22 Ultra. Entry-level models start as low as $349. Shop for your Samsung Galaxy from authorized resellers, including Digi, Dibari, Cellular World, Odette's Home Center, and Westrack, and enjoy 1-year local warranty with your purchase. Celebrate and save this September with a Samsung.
V-Bucks by Bennis, Belize's newest multi-brand rewards program. To access V-Bucks, download the mobile app or access the website portal at bbox.bz and set up your account. If you already have a Bennis account, chances are you already have B-Bucks. Don't let them go to waste. To earn B-Bucks, make a purchase at any Bennis location or at any of these Bennis entities, namely Island Freight Forwarders, Best Manufacturing, Benquip, and B-Mart. Once B-Bucks are earned, reward yourself. Use B-Bucks to buy items or exchange for cash. You can also double, triple, or even quadruple your B-Bucks on promotional days. It is simple. Purchase, earn, redeem. Loyalty is always rewarding with B-Bucks. Brought to you by Bennis, celebrating 75 years of quality and savings.
My beautiful Belize, my land of the free, my home and it's bound by the Caribbean Sea. Valiant and bold, proud we are strong. Belize we rebound at age 41. Belize we are free and independent. We're free and independent, free and independent to be whatever you wanna be. Free and independent, we're free and independent, free and independent. We're changing our country, we're free. So make we celebrate with smart. Come celebrate with smart. Make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart. So make we celebrate with smart. Come celebrate with smart. Make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart.
The entire Smart family wishes all Belizeans a safe and happy September celebrations. Smart, bringing people together.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness has decided that it will only be reporting newly detected positive COVID-19 cases twice a week to the general public. That decision comes after weeks of detecting a low number of daily positive cases. On Monday, 25 cases were detected in Belize District, the highest number of cases detected in a single day of recent. But with the closure of a number of testing sites across the country, there has also been a reduction in the number of tests being administered. We spoke with Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa, the Director of Public Health Services, via Zoom.
On the different regions, we have, for instance, the Belize District and Cayo District, which by population are the bigger districts. They have reported on average between 17 and down to as little as 3 or 2 on a daily basis. This last Monday, Belize District reported 25 new cases and 17 for Cayo. So those were two of the higher numbers that we've seen, compared to over the last week. But in August, the numbers as well were ranging around that. Remember that the positivity rate depends a lot on how many tests are being done. If people come out and get tested, then we can see a true figure of the positivity rate. Many times, if persons have very mild symptoms or might be not feeling too unwell, they may decide that they won't go in to get tested. But having said all of that, our positivity rate continues to decline and continues to remain below 10, which is what we're looking at.
And with the decrease in cases comes a decrease in the time a COVID-19 patient is required to be in isolation. Belize's COVID-19 isolation period now stands at 7 days. But if a patient is feeling well after 24 hours, that person may come out of isolation. Dr. Musa explained.
Well, most countries have actually continued with 14 days or 10 days. The only country that I am aware of is the United States that had gone down to 5 days. But when you read the actual guidelines, it says 5 days with conditions. So Belize is at 7 days, again with conditions. So you can come out of your isolation if you have been 24 hours without a fever, if you don't need any medication, if you feel well, completely asymptomatic, you can come out of isolation at that time, and we would still encourage for a few days after, especially if you're in crowded, enclosed situations, that you keep your mask on. I must say that things that we had done in the past, for instance, isolating entire families or homes, all these things we have changed quite significantly, because if you look at the last day that you were exposed and you test within 3 to 4 days after that and you test negative, you can return to work. That's not a problem.
Dr. Musa also gave an update on the Ministry of Health's ongoing monkeypox surveillance. Since the ministry began its efforts to detect the virus, 17 samples have been tested. To date, all samples have returned with a negative test result. Dr. Musa says MOHW will continue with its enhanced surveillance.
Well, initially when we had started our surveillance, we were testing persons with a suspicious rash, even though the person might not fit definitively the diagnosis or the description for monkeypox. But if somebody comes in, yes, they may not have had any travel, or they may not have had the fever, we would have still gone ahead and tested for monkeypox, because we want to do an enhanced surveillance. We're searching for the case so that we can contain the disease as fast as possible. We have to date tested I think we've tested 17 persons so far. Every Wednesday we're running the test, but if we have to run outside of that Wednesday, let's say we have a large number of tests to run, or if there is something urgently that has come up, we can modify. Central Medical Lab is able to modify and to test earlier. So this Wednesday we were able to run, I believe there were 4 other tests, and they were also negative. So to date, the 17 tests, monkeypox has not been detected in any of them.
When we return, the National Women's Commission has been made a statutory body. But first, here's the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
Belizeans deserve a fast, dependable, high-quality internet service in their homes for online, virtual classes, and to work from home. It's the new way of life. DigiNet is the #1 fiber service that is powering Belize's digital transformation. And now, this reliable fiber service is even more affordable with our new entry plan. For a limited time only, you and your family can enjoy 20 megabits per second of fiber service to your home for only $49 monthly. No more missed classes and interrupted meetings. It's costing you time and money. DigiNet is better than cable and better than wireless. Visit a Digi store today to sign up for the best home internet service in Belize. Come see what you've been missing. Same high quality, fast, and reliable fiber service, now at an even lower price. For more information, visit livedigi.com/diginet. Digi, our national telecom.
After a rough week of school, Jake and his friends decide to treat themselves to frozen coffee. And since they don't have cash on them, they decide to use eCash. With eCash's geolocation feature, Jake can easily find the nearest coffee spot. With eCash's built-in option to split bills, Jake can pay the bill and his friends can reimburse their portion of the bill. Jake scans the merchant's code and confirms payment. Jake then views his transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made, then taps the split the bill button where he selects the evenly option to evenly split the bill. The application splits the bill automatically. His friends receive and accept the request. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash makes Jake enjoy his digital lifestyle.
Good morning, Belize, and good morning. I say good morning, Belize, and good morning. And how are you this morning?
Get up every morning, life go to work from day till night. Get up every morning, life go to work from day till night. I got seven big, big, big,
Me, Belize by Leroy Green. I am a beautiful little dancer. I move my hips to the breakdown and the punta. I am many people living in peace. Proud to tell the world, I am Belize. I am the corn, the rice and the beans, the ruins, the keys, and all the rich tropical seas. I am the haven whose wonders never cease. Proud to tell the world, I am Belize. I am the mahogany, tall, regal, and strong. I am the anthem, our national song. O land of the free by the Caribbean Sea. I am the cow, the lobster, abounding in our Caribbean seas. Proud to tell the world, I am Belize. I am the flag of red, white, and blue, the identity of me and you. I am a child, the future of Belize. Proud to tell the world, I am Belize.
Evening come and I want to go home. Yeah, the shot and the teacher tell this to go home.
Start your engines now for the National MSME Roadshow, geared towards building the resilience of MSMEs and developing a national MSME directory. Sign up for this 3-day event filled with intensive boot camps, presentations, MSME support and formalization clinics, pop-up shops, and more to help you develop and promote your business. The National MSME Roadshow will be in Corozal starting August 24th, Orange Walk August 31st, Belize City September 7th, Punta Gorda September 14th, Key Cocker September 22nd, Belmopan September 28th, San Ignacio and San Helena on October 5th, Dangriga October 12th, Placencia October 19th, and closes in San Pedro from October 26th. Learn more and sign up for the National MSME Roadshow by visiting the Beltrade Facebook page or call or WhatsApp us at 613-5139. And let's get your business on the road.
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 9 Caribbean Media Awards for 2021. Best Investigative Report, Best News Item, Best Coverage of People with Disabilities, Best Financial Literacy Journalism, Best Videographer, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with 2 special mentions for Financial Literacy Journalism.
The National Women's Commission is now a statutory body following Cabinet's approval to empower the working group to legally address gender issues and to coordinate all national efforts relating to gender equality, equity, and women's empowerment. According to Minister of Human Development, Dolores Balderramos Garcia, the move to give authority to the National Women's Commission was overdue.
It means a lot. We believe that this really has been an oversight that has occurred for a long, long time. And really, it is time that we correct it. As you may know, the National Commission for Families and Children is a statutory body under the Families and Children's Act. And so we have the NCFC already incorporated as a statutory body. But it was an oversight, I believe, that we didn't make the National Women's Commission also a statutory body. We believe that making the NWC a statutory body will really do us a lot of good, because the NWC really acts as like a clearinghouse for all matters related to the empowerment of women and gender advancement and equality. We rely on the goodwill of partners to report to us. In other words, we don't have the teeth at the moment to say to people, look, we are the clearinghouse, get back to us, because we are the body that is responsible to report to the United Nations on the CEDAW Convention. As you know, the CEDAW Convention is the convention to eliminate all forms of discrimination against women. And we believe that if we would have the legal mandate and the teeth to ask our partners to report so that we can then fulfill our treaty obligations in reporting, then we believe that that will be much, much better. As a matter of fact, Belize has not reported on the CEDAW Convention for, I think, 10 years, since 2012. And that is a terrible oversight that we must correct. So that's one thing. But then secondly, having the NWC as a statutory body, it will be able to stand on its own a little bit more and be able to do some of the fundraising that is needed on their own. Now, that doesn't mean that they will be abandoned by our Ministry of Human Development. It comes definitely under our umbrella, and we will continue to work very closely with the Commission.
September 10th is recognized worldwide as Suicide Prevention Day. And starting today, Belizeans have been wearing the color yellow to bring awareness to the issue. Now, here at the station, we don't normally report on acts of suicides. But in tonight's newscast, we speak to professionals in the private and public sectors about suicide prevention services that are in place. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
During this time of the year, there is a focus on suicide prevention as the world, including Belize, heightens the awareness on this issue. It is also during this time that the country records an increase in the number of deaths by suicide.
World Suicide Prevention Day is actually September 10th. So, you know, countries around the globe is doing many different activities to build more awareness on how we can prevent suicide. But the mental health program at the Ministry of Health and Wellness, that doesn't stop us. We continue to push our agenda. We need to continue to educate the public on how we can prevent suicide.
According to data, 31 deaths by suicide were recorded in 2021. It's the highest number in recent years. Of those cases, only 6 were women, 25 were men who chose a more lethal method like a gun to the head rather than ingesting pills or poison. Women, however, are making more attempts.
There's different mental health conditions that could impact a person to the point that they have suicidal thoughts. The most common one would be major depression disorder. Once somebody has depression, a severe depression, it's highly likely they will have suicidal thoughts. And once there is one person has attempted once, their risk is even greater for that person. So we have to continue working with that person to prevent another attempt or to prevent the death.
And according to psychologist Juliet Simmons, there are conditions such as schizophrenia, bipolar, and some personality disorders as well. So mental health illness is a big factor in suicide gestures. News 5 sat down with mental health counselor and managing director Krista Courtney of Monarch Counseling and Consulting. She speaks about some of the signs to look out for.
One is isolation is a main one. Now you'll find some people you feel like they're isolating, maybe they're just an introvert, but it's always okay to ask. If you notice somebody pulling away, not participating, especially if they used to, and now it's a change in behavior or a shift, those are things we want to pay attention to. If someone used to be more shy and now they're taking more risky behaviors or really acting out, any major shift is something that we want to pay attention to. Not all mental health conditions will lead to having suicidal thoughts or ideations or creating a plan or even attempting. But you do find that often when people don't get the help that they need, or they start to feel very alone and isolated, or they're really fighting to try and deal with their issues, but they're not really making progress, they get really tired. And that often leads to sometimes the suicidal attempts or thoughts. And expressing that to someone, you can be really afraid that they're not going to know how to react or respond. And so they tend not to. So if we make it more safe for people to say, I'm not okay.
There are school counselors in almost all high schools across the country, and they're trained in how to recognize the signs for suicide, how to start the conversation, and when to make the referrals to clinics and other professionals. Courtney and Simmons say that there are services available in the private and public sector for persons to get help.
mindhealthconnect.com is the website that we put together. We're always updating it as we get more information or there are more providers. So we try to keep information on private clinicians who are available that you can access and what their fees are, who accepts insurance, etc. And also public resources, and especially as the ministry works to expand them to make them a lot more robust in the districts, not just in the city. Those things will also be obviously updated on the site often.
We're proud of what we've done, but there's still a long way to go. So yes, services, there's more service today than there were 15 or 20 years ago.
On Saturday, the public is asked to remember those who have been lost to suicide and those still breathing by lighting a candle at 8 p.m. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
The government of Rwanda has advised the government of Belize that the planned visit of its president, Paul Kagame, has been postponed. President Kagame's visit to Belize was scheduled for the 14th and 15th of September. The government of Belize was preparing to confer the Order of Belize on President Kagame. The president of Rwanda would have also signed agreements aimed at strengthening bilateral relations between the countries, address the members of the House of Representatives and the Senate at a joint special sitting, and speak with students at the University of Belize. A new date will be announced when details are finalized. Just ahead, a newly upgraded library for St. John's Vianney.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benque Viejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Everything must come to an end. A much-needed vacation, or even a good book. What about the world? How will it end? Should we be worried about the end? Frightened even? What does the Bible actually say about the end? Tune in right here as we discuss the end.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes. Go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Because news is now everywhere, all the time. And so are we.
My beautiful Belize, my land of the free, my home and it's bound by the Caribbean Sea. Valiant and bold, proud we are strong. Belize we rebound at age 41. Belize we are free and independent. We're free and independent. Free and independent. To be whatever you wanna be. Free and independent. We're free and independent. Free and independent. We're changing our country. We're free. So make we celebrate with smart. Come celebrate with smart. Make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart. So make we celebrate with smart. Come celebrate with smart. Make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart.
The entire Smart family wishes all Belizeans a safe and happy September celebrations. Smart, bringing people together.
Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Leo Messi! What an incredible strike from Leo Messi! Neymar and Messi is standing over this. Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Leo
Great entertainment stays with you, and we bring you great entertainment. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
Hello eCash user, the eCash app is now available in Spanish. Changing the language in your eCash app from English to Spanish is quick and easy. Let me walk you through the steps. First, open your eCash app. Enter your PIN. Tap the More icon at the bottom of your screen. Choose Security. Select Language. Tap on Spanish. Then re-enter your PIN. And that's it! Your eCash app is now in Spanish, and you can continue to enjoy your eCash digital wallet. Belize Bank's eCash app makes life easier.
Today, the U.S. Embassy and the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology signed an agreement to introduce the Global Learning and Observations to Benefit the Environment, known as the GLOBE program for short. This is a worldwide hands-on science and education program that focuses on the environment and that has been active in over 120 countries. Sponsored by NASA and other agencies, the program allows students and teachers to collect data and perform research in collaboration with scientists. Its access to Belizean students who engage in science and technology will be made all the easier through an app which can be downloaded. Today, U.S. Chargé d'Affaires to Belize, Leila Moses Onish, and Minister of Education, Science and Technology, Francis Fonseca, shared the importance that students in Belize will be working with this program.
It is a chance for students to conduct real-world, hands-on scientific experiments using the scientific method and then feed those results into the app's program, which then goes into a global database. So, for example, if other scientists are tracking activity in Belize's mangrove, but aren't able to come here for hands-on research, this is a way for students to go out, collect that data, and personally contribute to the world's trove of information and the growing body of knowledge. So NASA is one of the agencies that is sponsoring this program through the provision of technology and some of their scientists. Where Department of State is also intricately involved in this program, so it's really an interagency effort, also education platforms to help the new custodians of knowledge for the future, bringing them into real-world problem solving.
The National Curriculum Framework this program is directly aligned to that, because the National Curriculum Framework that we launched recently identifies and prioritizes science and technology as a key component of Belize's education curriculum. So at every level of our education system, our students are going to be exposed to science and technology. You have to start somewhere, and so along with GLOBE, we decided that we would start at the high school level. That's where we will start first. But hopefully, and you know, we obviously want to expand beyond that. As we said, science and technology, we want to expose our students, even at the preschool level, to basic science and technology concepts. And then, of course, at the primary school level. So it's something we're starting at the high school level, but of course, over time, we will expand to the entire educational system.
Teacher at the Belize High School, Jamie Lee Usher, and two of her students, Erin Grace Sosa and Zaida Saad, feel very positive that the level of science they will now have access to will be more advanced.
I think this app really speaks to the latest evolvement of the education curriculum in Belize. So we've been at the lead of that in terms of our ability as a private school to move curriculum, but this is a fantastic complement to show just how much of education now happens beyond four walls of a classroom. One of the things that happened during our disruption during COVID is that we had to step to the side as facilitators, not so much at the head of the classroom as teachers. So as facilitators, this actually put the learning directly in the students' hands, literally, through their phones. It also forces the student to take the responsibility of their learning, whereas before it would be what the teacher knows, you'll know. But now it's like what I observe, what I'm able to pull. So literally it's maybe opening the book to making everything an open book test, because it's no more about the content. That's there, that's Googleable. Right? But it's about where I apply it. And that's been the exciting knowledge of NASA and other groups that force everyone to be involved.
Growing up, I always wanted to go to space, and I'm currently pursuing a science major in attempt to become an astronautical engineer. So being here, signing this agreement is just so exciting, such a great feeling.
I think the app will allow Belize to get a better science education and better apply it to the country, to a better our ecosystem and economy, and I think it'll be beneficial.
On the occasion of International Literacy Day, St. John's Vianney RC Primary School is reopening its library's door with additional features, including more reading materials for students at all levels. The theme for this year's International Literacy Day is transforming literacy learning spaces. That is exactly what has taken place at the primary school, where Peacework Belize also contributed towards this transformation. News 5's Paul Lopez was there for the official opening ceremony and files that report.
The students of St. John's Vianney RC Primary School are now better equipped to increase their reading and writing abilities. With the relaunch of the St. John's Vianney Library, students now have access to a larger variety of reading material. Felix Sutherland, the principal of the primary school, spoke at the official opening ceremony.
Belize, like the rest of the world, is grappling with what I want to call a post-COVID effect, but in literacy, words do have meaning. And Dr. Bradley would quickly remind me, post refer to the past. And we must be reminded that we are still in COVID season. And yes, while we are in COVID season, we are also in a season of impending monkeypox. However, whilst those are present, our gathering this morning is in an effort to erase and eradicate ignorance and illiteracy. And what a better time to refocus ourselves.
Today's ceremony was held on the occasion of International Literacy Day. Peacework Belize, headed by Dr. Carol Babb, contributed to transforming the St. John's Vianney Literacy Room through the donations of books and backpacks.
Because you are able to read and spend a lot of time reading, it might seem unbelievable that there are many people living around us who cannot simply read a message sent to them on WhatsApp, are unable to read a book, a restaurant menu, a road sign, a voting ballot, an instruction manual, a prescription, or a cereal box. Can you imagine, my friend, navigating modern day life without the basic ability to read and write? Wiping out Illiteracy in every community around our country is what International Literacy Day is all about. Literacy is a blessing often taken for granted. Reading and writing is essential in our daily lives.
Students from 2 other primary schools, St. John's Anglican and Unity Presbyterian, were present at today's event, as the upgraded library will also serve them. Literacy specialist Rose Bradley also shared.
In a multicultural society, learning to read in what is considered a second language is twice as hard. This is often compounded by students' limited access to books. Reading, like any other skill, is acquired through practice. The more you read, the better you become at it. Having a school library with a range of books for different reading levels is definitely a part of the move toward transforming literacy spaces for improved reading performance. Congratulations to the leadership and staff of St. John's Vianney.
My parents are in Belize. Should I pack a bathing suit? Yes, I definitely should.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.